Okay. The question says, okay, take your time. When hearing the word modernism, what three words do you remember? Until now, we have the word depression, especially today, in today's presentation, we are talking about Virginia Woolf. Absurdity, today in drama, we talked about Waiting for Godot. Fragmentation, absolutely. Alienation, Brecht. Experimentation, stream of consciousness, definitely Virginia Woolf. And let's see what other words shall we have before we begin. And let's remember those words, because in the presentation we will talk about the modernist features of To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I will focus on that rather than on the plot and the structure and so on. Modernity, epic theater, and defamiliarization. Defamiliarization, that's so sophisticated word. What three words have you chosen, Fatma?
Alienation,
Mm-hmm.
and
meaninglessness. Ness. Yes. Alienation was mentioned a couple of times. That's why it's in the center, and indeed it deserves to be in the center. So let's see what words of those will we see in Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse. My presentation will talk about the modernist features of Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse. But before going to that, one of the words that I've listened to or heard for the first time when attending the first lecture here with Dr. Sapir is stream of consciousness. Another thing that I heard for the first time too was that Virginia Woolf was one of the pioneers of modernist novels and one of the leading authors of this genre of stream of consciousness, which constitutes one of the main, let's say, buildings in modernism. Virginia Woolf, when reading and listening to podcasts and documentaries about her, is a very interesting person, especially that the issues that she struggled with in her life affected in a way or another in many of her works. And in To the Lighthouse, we see a representation and a reflection of the kind of life she experienced in the characters, in the places, and in the time passes and so on. So let's start talking about To the Lighthouse. First, Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf was a prominent English writer and one of the pioneers of modernist literature in the 20th century. Her significance as a modernist writer is because of her works are characterized by their innovative narrative techniques, especially in To the Lighthouse, and their stream of consciousness, storytelling techniques, and exploration of the inner lives and thoughts of her characters. Before going on, can any one of you define what is stream of consciousness?
Stream of consciousness is fragmented thoughts of of a person, yeah.
Fragmented thoughts of a person?
Like, for example, when you think about something, you pick a word and think about another thing, and it goes and on, and it doesn't have to be related to each other. It's like the stream of
flow.
It's like flow of
Cool.
the thoughts.
Cool. Make it more simple. Oh, I don't know the word.
A collage, it's like patchwork. Different elements brought together. Usually, at the first thought, you would think they were unrelated. They somehow relate.
But that's the way we think. And we will see example into The Lighthouse. And by the way, we have talked about another novel that has like a clear stream of consciousness, which is?
The sound and the fury.
Yes. And what's the difference between the stream of consciousness that we are having here and the Sound of the Fury?
To compare, I have to read this first.
Okay, because it's way more complicated there, because we have a stream of consciousness from another level that we will discuss in the next lecture. But let's complete here and see. Okay, let's take an overview of this novel to get to know to it. In the plot summary, we see that To the Lighthouse is a novel written by Virginia Woolf and published in 1927, between the First and Second World War. The story is set in the early 20th century and revolves around the Ramsey family. It's all about this family and their friends. The novel is divided into three sections. The first section is the window. It introduces the characters and their relationships as they spend the summer on a house in the Isle of Skye. It's in Scotland. The second section, Time Passes, covers a 10-year period during which World War I occurs and significant changes happen to the characters and the house. And you can see that World War I affected this novel and World War II affected Virginia Woolf herself because she committed suicide while the war was ongoing. So the wars of that period of time affected heavily on Virginia Woolf and her works. The third section, To the Lighthouse, takes place after the war and follows the characters as they visit the lighthouse that has been a long-standing desire of Mrs. Ramsey. The novel explores themes of time, memory, perception, and the complexities of human relationships. Its main themes are the passage of time and its effects on individuals and relationships, the exploration of subjective perception and the fluidity of reality, and we will talk about that more, and the complexities of human relationships and the challenge of communication and understanding. Virginia Woolf had a complicated relationship with her family, especially with her father and her sister, and this affected her personality and also affected her works, especially in To the Lighthouse, as Mr. Ramsey. Lots of critics believe that he was a representation of Virginia Woolf's father, especially in the way that he treats the family. Okay, when we talk about stream of consciousness, we have asked already what is stream of consciousness with you. We can't have a definite, concise, precise definition of stream of consciousness, but we can say that To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf is known for its innovative use of stream of consciousness narrative technique. This narrative style aims to depict the flow of thoughts, feelings, and perceptions of the characters in continuous and uninterrupted manner. You can see that clearly, especially in the way sentences are arranged in the novel. So, stream of consciousness simply is the way that we think, projected in words and text. So, if Virginia Woolf depicts the way that I think right now, maybe I'm talking with you, giving this lecture, but at the same time, I'm thinking about why I haven't taken Pepsi with my kofta that I ate like 10 minutes later. The two thoughts are in my mind. One interrupts another. If I depict that in a text, that will be my stream of consciousness. So, in the way that she writes that, she writes them in full sentences, even sometimes without punctuation, as the way that we think, without full stops. We just think in a stream way. Woolf's use of this technique allows readers to experience the inner lives of the characters, their shifting perspectives, and the complexity of their thoughts. The narrative often lacks traditional punctuation and linear structure, mirroring the way thoughts naturally occur in the mind. We don't think from the past till the present and then future. We think like this and that. We go back and forth between this and that. So, in such novel, you don't have linear structure, going from the beginning to the middle and then the end. No, you will have complexity in it. Through the stream of consciousness technique, Woolf explored the characters' subjective experiences, their subconscious desires, and the connections between their thoughts and emotions. This narrative style also enables Woolf to delve into the characters' memories, associations, and reflections, creating rich and layered portrayal of their inner worlds. What makes an artistic work talking about different characters really deep is the layers that each and every person has. So if you watch a TV show right now and the characters are very simple, this protagonist is really good person that you have to cheer, and this is the villain that you have to cheer against, as simple as that, that won't be interesting. That won't be any kind of rejection of reality of the stream of consciousness as it is. I got this quote from Virginia Woolf memoir. She used to write a diary talking about herself, her thoughts, and her works. She said, "The method of writing smooth narrative can't be right." Talking about stream of consciousness, huh? "Things don't happen in one's mind like that. We experience all the time an overlapping of images and ideas, and modern novels should convey our mental confusion instead of neatly arranging it. The reader must sort out." And especially in this conclusion, the reader must sort out. I remember that we have talked about why Brecht and his mother, Courage, and her children was not talking to the public, because he thought that his audience is not the public. He wants to talk about to people who want to make change politically. So that's why he said, no, if you are not interested in such topic, don't enter the play. But if you're interested, enter. Fragmented structure. Are we going okay?
Yeah. Perfect.
Good. Fragmented structure. If you have any questions, interrupt me, okay?
Okay, but not now.
Okay. Before going to the next slide talking about fragmented structure, I want to give you a quotation that I found in the novel. In my version, it's in page 43, okay? So, this is Mrs. Ramsey talking in her mind, interior monologue, huh? This is a representation of stream of consciousness. "There were the eternal problems, suffering, death, the poor. There was always a human dying of cancer, even here. And yet she had said to all these children, 'You should go through with it.' To 8 people, she had said relentlessly that, and the bill for the greenhouse would be £50. For that reason, knowing what was before them, love and ambition, and being rich alone in dreary places, she had often the feeling, why must they grow up and lose it all?" So here, she was talking about death and cancer and the poor, and suddenly an idea interrupts, and she says, "And the bill for the greenhouse would be £50. She thought about different thing. She thought about the bill house and the bill that she had to give for it, and it interrupted her stream of consciousness, and it was represented here by Virginia Woolf. So I think that this is a good representation of stream of consciousness as we have explored. Okay, also one of the modernist features in To the Lighthouse, we have fragmented structure. Exploring the fragmented structure, Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse is known for its unique fragmented structure, which has a profound impact on the reading experience. How it impacts the reading experience, the fragmented structure of the novel allows for multiple perspectives, a non-linear narrative, challenging traditional storytelling conventions. And there is another thing from her, can I have the marker? From her diary. In her diary, when she talked about to the Lighthouse, she had a sketch showing how this novel is structured. So the sketch is like that. As we have said, the novel consists of how many chapters? 3. The first one is the window, right? So the window is more like that, okay? Block. And then we have the second chapter, which is like this. Time passes. Which is abnormal, especially in that time. And lastly, we have another block, which is the lighthouse. Yes, the lighthouse. So, what happens here is that all the events happens in two periods of time. One, we have this huge block of content, of stream of consciousness, of characters, of thoughts, all in one night. On a night where this family was having a dinner near the window in their house. Just in one night, we have the biggest chapter. And then 10 years happen in time passes. Yet it is the shortest chapter. Although it is 10 years, the events just come like that. So she talks about the death of several characters, 3 members of the family. Between brackets, she put it like that, like James died in the war. And there was an explosion. 10 men were dead. James was one of them, for example. Just as simple as that. The normal, or the way that we know narratives are, we will have lots of dramatizing concerning such an event. Death of the one of the main characters in the family that this whole story is about. But Virginia Woolf introduces something completely different, especially in her fragmented structure of To the Lighthouse. So this was so special and innovative, especially in her time. Also, I've talked merely about that. We have so many interior monologues. In To the Lighthouse, Virginia Woolf employs interior monologues to provide deep insight into the thoughts and emotions of the characters. These interior monologues serve as a narrative technique to reveal the inner workings of the character's mind. We see how those people think. By delving into the character's thought, Woolf creates more intimate and nuanced understanding of their personality. Also, when To the Lighthouse begins, see this. It starts like this, huh? It starts with, yes, of course. If it's fine tomorrow, said Mrs. Ramsay. So, we have an answer to an unknown question in the first words of the novel itself. So, the technique of narration here concerning interior monologue is very innovative. The way that she depicts the ideas of the characters, and here she's projecting a question that James, the little kid, asked his father and mother. If it's okay, I want to go to the lighthouse tomorrow. And his mother, Mrs. Ramsay, she says, yes, of course. And then his dad, he says, no, tomorrow won't be fine. The weather won't be fine, so we won't go. The first interior monologue that you will see, very interesting here, is the interior monologue of James, the little kid himself. The way that this kid thinks. So in The Sound and the Fury, we have a retarded person, and it's a projection of his thoughts. And here we have little kid. What does he think about? He thinks, my dad hates me. If I have the chance, I will kill him. He always say no to me, and so on. We have this delve into character thoughts that Woolf rejects. Very good. Okay. Here or the last one?
Last one is not related here, but the previous one. What's the difference between interior monologue and stream of consciousness?
Good question. One of them is organized, but I cannot remember which one is organized. Try. Interior monologue is more organized because it is you're talking to yourself, but it is not the stream of consciousness. There is no limit to the stream of consciousness because it is just the mind flows, and it is not related to each other. You just go on thinking. But interior monologue, you are speaking on a subject again, but as a monologue, not
To another person. You're speaking to yourself.
But you're speaking to yourself about the subject, which can lead you to another non-related subject, but it is still a monologue. But stream of consciousness is just a flow of thoughts.
So it's a speech.
Stream of consciousness is not a monologue?
No, it is monologue. Interior monologue is in stream of consciousness, but
Which one is unconscious?
Interior monologue will be conscious, although the other one's called self-consciousness. But
Yes, what are the characteristics of being conscious?
knowing what you're talking about, being aware.
How this knowing this? But they also know what they are talking about, what they are thinking about.
So in stream of consciousness.
Yes, they
Do
do.
we know that for sure?
Hmm?
Do we know that? Do they know?
Yes, that's
And
why.
readers know.
Yes, readers know. The character knows that, because it's the character is why that we read. So what is it? Fabio, do you have an answer? I'm sorry.
The difference between
Yes, interior monologue. You are very close to reach. You are about to catch this, but it seems that and of course it's pretty typical because don't check.
I'm checking right now, but I couldn't find any.
Yes.
probably interior monologue is more in order because stream of consciousness is fragmented all the time, but interior monologue can be in order.
I think interior monologue is still a speech, but stream of consciousness is just a pile of thoughts,
Cool.
That's interior monologue. Is a part of thoughts.
but in an organized way as a speech.
Manal, what about you?
I think interior monologue it is only said memorized.
Excuse me.
Said thing said memorized phrases.
What do you mean? Said memorized?
Said.
Sad?
Yes.
Sudden.
Mm.
Sad.
Said.
Ah.
Sad memory. So which one? Sad memory. All of you were
I
right.
stand what I say.
All of you were right. All of you were right. But how did you know that?
Just a feeling.
Google feeling.
What is it? What did you say?
All of you were also somehow right.
I said interior. It's just a feeling, really, it's a feeling. But when you
The word monologue itself reflects a kind of speech, especially when we take monologue. It's a kind of speech that you that you give to yourself. It's like it's like a discussion between two characters, but it's between you and your thoughts. But the stream of consciousness, as Fatma said, is a pile of fragmented thoughts that that sometimes be meaningless, sometimes they don't have a goal.
You said meaningless?
it has meaning, but it doesn't relate to each
You messed up.
Meaningless, but just like if you talk like that to a normal people,
Yes, of course. Because
they
they are
look
not.
like that as if you are mad. Right?
Yes, because it is fragmented. They're not accustomed to fragmented type of speech. It's very good, but what about you? She guessed. What about you? You guessed?
I guess what?
The answer you gave.
This is the answer.
I mean, as I say, also, I think there might be in the example stream of consciousness, there is more not like emotions, but something internal more. The other one, no?
No. How about you?
How did you guess?
Did you guess the meaning?
Yes, or from red song.
Be careful about your cable. Be careful with that.
Yeah, I noticed.
Just a minute for what?
For the question, the difference between them. How did you know?
We talked about it before.
Yes, excellent. Please try to have answers, okay, from books. Don't even trust, really. Don't even trust. These are very important questions. A glossary of literary terms. Please refer to that. Always have that. Always have that.
Okay, that is one of the questions that will be in the final. So, exploration, exploration of subjectivity. Also, we have a portrayal of characters' perspectives. We have talked about that. Virginia Woolf delves into the inner thoughts and perceptions of her characters, providing a deep exploration of their subjective experiences. The experiences of characters through the use of stream of consciousness narrative, Woolf captures the unique experiences and perspective of each character, highlighting the subjectivity of their reality. So, in the first chapter, as we have said, there was a dinner, and then everyone went to a certain place. Some people talked with each other, the kids went upstairs to sleep, and so on. So, the scene is depicted through the thoughts of every and each one of them by jumping from one's mind to another. So you have different perspectives of the scene rather than the scene itself. So that's how Virginia Woolf works in her stream of consciousness between ideas of different people. Here we have time and memory. To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf explores the themes of time and memory and their significance in shaping the narrative. The novel delves into the fluid nature of time and the ways in which memories shape our understanding of the past, present, and future. Look with me to the table that we have themes of time and memory. First, we have temporal fluidity. Woolf employs a stream of consciousness narrative style to depict the fluid nature of time, blurring the boundaries between past, present, and future. And as you have said, Bushra, before, sometimes when you think about things, you don't have like this linear, clear, chronological order of ideas. So you sometimes get lost between past, present, and future because there is no actual sense of time in the mind. Its significance in the novel and its features that this technique allows the reader to experience time as the characters do, emphasizing the subjective nature of time and the interconnectedness of past and present. Also, we have memory and perception. The characters' memories and perceptions shape their understanding of events, influencing their actions and relationships, because memories absolutely influence our actions. Okay. Okay, I will give you an example from the novel. Let me think. An event where a memory affected an action. Okay, the father is a professor of metaphysics. And the kind of, as long as I remember, the kind of life that he lived with his family before his marriage was a life that he didn't feel cared about a lot. He didn't feel appreciated enough. This affects the way that he deals with his family that we are talking about here.